But it's not.
Those are, I don't have situation and they can receive tutoring mathematics. We don't have a slide on the bell ringing. We don't have a slide on the bell ringing. This is part of your file. I'm having an experience.
Well, what about just bringing announcement?
Yeah.
Like, and I sort of thought, I think we do, yeah. We do it in a math room, but it's maybe in the not. I would love to see math being other yeah, no.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, that's not my. And you know, when you do the well,
All right. So, okay, so Don's gonna do a Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rotary. Just to start off the meeting, I want to go over, this month's
Your mic on?
theme. It probably isn't. I was wondering why it wasn't sounding very good. How about now? Better? All right, there we go. So this month, the month of October, is Economic and Development Month for Rotary. And every year, I'm supposed to have this only red. Our international president comes up with a theme, and the theme this year is the magic of Rotary. So Don Meyer is going to help us out today with the four-way test.
All right, this one's on. Okay, the four-way test. Of all the things we think, say, or do, number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair? Number three, number four,
Will be beneficial while concerned.
and number five, is it fun? All
Thank
right.
you, Don. So we have a lot of things to go over today, and I've already found two more additions to today's meeting, and I want to make sure our speakers have plenty of time. The reflection today is it couldn't be done. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he said with a chuckle, that may be correct, but he would be the one who wouldn't say so until he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "You'll never do that. At least no one has done it." Oh. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has done it." But he took off his coat and he took off his hat. And the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that will wait to assail you. But just buckle it in, and with a big grin, just take off your coat and go to it. Just start singing as you tackle the thing that couldn't be done, and you'll do it. So far, we've raised $256 towards our goal of $1,000 with happy thoughts. So thanks for everyone who has contributed. Does anybody have a happy thought for today? Mark.
My throwing in $10 because my middle daughter got engaged this week.
Congratulations, that's a very happy moment. Anyone else? Yes.
I did $3. Last night, me and my wife celebrated our 3rd-year wedding anniversary. We've successfully raised 2 kids so far, so. How's that done?
Congratulations, a lot, yeah, before, Chris.
Put $10 in my granddaughter who recently graduated from Mankato State from Rochester or Mankato, Minnesota. Just recently got a job finally with the Faribault newspaper as a reporter, so she's joined the middle class now. She's gotten off the dole from us.
Yes.
Excellent, congratulations. Yes.
I have $5 for two of my favorite people that are presenting today, Tim and Sweden.
Thank you.
I have $1. It's always good to see Tim Lindbergh and this lady sitting next to me. Tim, I met Tim 20 years ago on a professional basis when my son was at John Marshall. And unfortunately, we met Tim on a professional basis related to my son. But I'm pleased to say now, and Tim was very fair and honest and upright with us, but I'm pleased to say now, Tim, my son is doing a fine husband and father. He has a great job, house, home. So things can radically change in a life, and I hope we didn't cause you too much grief. But thank you so much for all the work you and all the teachers do. I just cannot imagine teaching in today's world. But thank you.
Yes.
Have a little bit of money left. I've just returned from visiting my brother in Oregon. He's an equine veterinarian, only lives about an hour or so out of Portland. But once you get an hour or so out of Portland, it's quite a rural area with beautiful vineyards, filbert orchards, all kinds of specialty crops and horses. Went to the coast, just had a great time. So happy to be back though.
Thank you.
I'm putting in $20 out of gratitude for all the work that went into Cradle to Career. Thank Marilyn Dealing for being our champion at the table and keeping us motivated to participate and support the organization. Also to thank Dave Mortel, Don Myers, Audrey Betcher, Sue Luby, and myself. It was very gratifying and had 230 people registered, and the presentations were excellent. And so one of the questions was asked is, do you think C2C, in fact, I think the executive director asked, do you think C2C, to the panel, do you think C2C is relevant? Does it make a difference? And they, to a person, and that was our superintendent, the head of RCTC and UCR, University of Minnesota, Rochester, I believe it was a vice chancellor, said yes, because the people feel that that education is a private good rather than a public good. And you put the public first and foremost in supporting their youth, and it was a powerful testament to the value of the organization that they are thriving. So it was wonderful to see.
Excellent. Fully agree with everything you said. So I'm putting in my happy butt welcoming Dr. George Allen home from Colorado. Oh, you said it's awful.
Putting in some money that I wanted in Thanksgiving for the fact that my husband Mike, who's a crushed dad now, has been nominated to be inducted into his high school Hall of Fame. And, you know, and it's so wonderful that it would happen after his death. It would be, but they were reluctant because they'd already inducted his two brothers, and they've never had three members of the same generation of the family, so they were reluctant to break the rule. I'm glad they did.
Well, congratulations to you and Mike, yes. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I have remarks today because I'm just so excited about the education opportunity that we're having today and the fact of Strive and bringing everything forward, and that Diane came to this meeting to hear the program as well, and so I'm looking forward.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. So we've got lots of announcements today. And we can Get this page turned. There we go. Before I go on, do we have any guests today? We're going to introduce our speakers.
She's a guest.
Well, then I'll introduce her. Susan.
This is Amy Peters. Slay, okay, and I just learned she's not a counselor, she is a,
Senior transition coordinator.
senior transition coordinator, and she is going to be the person at ALC who is going to take over the leadership role with Strive. Last year we had Sweta, who is going to be our speaker, and now we have a new person. And so I thought, oh, this will be wonderful for her to come and hear the program and see who Roland really is, who we're representing. So, thank you.
Thank you. So we have multiple birthdays today. Did I see Terry
No, they're in California.
and Vicky?
Yeah.
Noel?
Before the, Air Latin conference.
Got it. Well, I tell you what, Mark Drips is the first one on the list, so, as well as Paul, Sherry, Vicky, John, and Marilyn. Let's wish them all a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, fellow Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. And then we have a number of people with anniversaries. Judy O'Fallon, 21 years.
And that's just in this club. I had 5.5 of the road in the risers before.
There we go. There we go. And Kathy, Jeff, and Chuck are all celebrating anniversaries as well. So the next White Oaks cleanup is October 16th. That will be our last one for this year. So we'd love your help. Correct, Joseph? Yeah.
And we go start at 5.
That's right. This one is at 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. But thanks to everybody who helped on the earlier cleanups. I wanted to thank everybody that helped out with the Cradle to Career Education Summit. But I think that's been adequately covered. Ally, thank you. So the holiday party is scheduled for December 19th. We're going to have a 5 p.m. Social and a dinner at 6 p.m. Looks like we're kind of cutting off the top and bottoms of the slides. Regardless, there was one more line and it said we're going to have live music by a band called Rock Bottom. It's a 70s band. Rock is R-O-C-H. And I understand my wife has an intimate relationship with one of the singers and players in that band. Anyway, so I would love it if everybody could put December 19th at 5 o'clock down on their calendars. The next rotation day will be October 31st. It's going to be at Nuss Truck and Equipment. What you're seeing in these pictures is part of the Nuss Museum. It's an incredible place, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So please plan on October 31st at the Nuss Truck and Equipment location. Anything that, Colin, that you wanted to add?
Bring your own lunch. Bring your own lunch.
Okay, bring your own lunch that day. Excellent. Okay, lots of announcements covered. The 100th anniversary planning continues. Remember, that's on May 15th, 2025. Channel 1 volunteer opportunities meets on the 4th Monday of every month. There's a program called Belonging. It's a Rotary thing on October 12th from 9 to noon at St. Andrew's Church in Matabele. The rotation day, again, we just discussed, is October 31st. Rotary Making Peace Visible Conference will be held on May 2nd to the 3rd, 2025. So a lot of things coming up. On your table, you'll find a flyer on the Community Impact Days. This is a wonderful opportunity to provide service to our community. I know I'm signed up for October 23rd, but there are 2 days. If you're not able to make the 23rd, there's another opportunity on Saturday, the 26th. The flyer on your table shows you how to sign up. There's an online website with the sign up, so I can't send around a sign up sheet here, but please take a look and see if any of those times work for you. Many hands make light work, so the more we can get involved, all the better. Yeah, and that was just one more picture of some of the activity with that group. World Polio Day is October 24th. We've got lots of things planned for that day. Let's help to strike out polio. As you're aware from previous discussions about this, if you give $100 to Polio Plus before October 31st, that donation will be matched 1-to-1. If you give $365, equivalent to $1 a day to Polio Plus during this campaign, they'll utilize those recognition points towards a full Paul Harris Fellowship. So please consider donating to strike out polio. Got some wonderful news today. As you know, we had a goal of raising $10,000 to purchase 4 benches surrounding the Silver Lake splash pad. That goal has been met. As you recall, to achieve that goal, we had an anonymous donor who offered a 1-to-3 match for every dollar donated to this project. This included donations that took place after July 17th. Since that time, we had $3,341 in donations. I received a check from one of our colleagues today, thank you, Lee, to cover the remaining balance. So we've completed our full $7,500 in donations with a match of $2,500, and we met our $10,000 goal. And then don't forget, we also had the generosity of other members who raised $3,450 prior to July 17th. So we are set to go forward with a wonderful our anniversary party, a gift to the community that's going to be everlasting in Rotary's name. So I want to thank everybody who's been involved with this project and all of the donors. To reach that kind of a goal in a short period of time, I just think is absolutely fabulous. So thanks, everyone. And then again, I'd like to thank Lori Lutke for all the work that she's been doing on the 100th anniversary. As you know, each month we're going to have an article in the Moccasin Flower, and this particular one has to do with women in Rotary, and there are a couple of special events that have taken place. In 1987, Sue Kelly from the Rochester Convention Bureau became a member of the Rotary Club of Rochester, and she was the first woman Rotarian in Rochester. She came into membership as Susan Sponsel and got married shortly after to Jim Kelly. In 1996, Marilyn Stewart was installed as the first woman president of the Rochester Rotary Club. And then from 2014 to 2015, Carol Weigel, one of our past presidents, was installed as the first female district governor representing Rotary International's District 5960. So wonderful accomplishments. So that brings us to our I'm actually on time. I'm Suzanne.
Looking at the schedule, I'm like, I'm impressed.
No, Suzanne asked for some additional time, to kind of lead into this, so she's gonna do an introduction, and I told her I would give her more time to do exactly that. So Suzanne.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I'd like to welcome all of you to this wonderful program. The Rochester ALC Principal, Tim Limber, will share about the student population, the various programs and services offered, and the building goals. Sweeta Patel, the community school site coordinator, will share through photos how community partners support the students' education. A background on Sweeta. Sweeta has been at the ALC since 2009 in a variety of roles, from reading teacher to English teacher to instructional coach to currently the community school site coordinator. Her work involves building and sustaining community partnerships to help meet student and staff needs, including the Rotary Club and the Strive program, which she will speak about today. And on your table are flyers about Strive, and we are looking to recruit mentors for the ALC Strive program this year. And there was one air that Sweeta pointed out. We're starting on December, not 25th, but December 24th.
2025.
What did I say? 2025. Yes, 2024. There we go. December 13th, 2024. All right. And so hopefully we need 10 mentors, and we're hoping that some of you are willing to join us in that wonderful task. Tim Limber has been a principal at ALC for 7 years. Prior to ALC, he was an administrator for John Marshall for 15 years. Prior to administration, he taught for 14 years in the area of health and PE. He has worked for the RPS school system for 34 years. He has 3 grown children and 2 grandchildren. Outside of work, he is on the city patrol at Welch Village and is active in his church. And I will say I have followed Tim for many years in the Strive program, and he was extremely supportive at John Marshall following Diane's, he replaced Diane, by the way. And he was very, very involved with Rotary and supportive of Strive, and continues to do that at ALC. I also have to add that his father-in-law interviewed me 45 years ago at RCTC for my position in the business department. It's a long time ago. Okay. With that, please give me help me with the wall.
Okay.
Does this work? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Doesn't look like it's.
Slide on the side.
All right. Well, all right. Well, thank you. Before we jump into a little bit about our school, there was 5 years between myself and Diane at John Marshall. And when I did take over the principal job, I met almost weekly my first year with Diane and said, how should I do this? How should I do this? So she was a very strong mentor for my first few years at John Marshall, and I owe her a lot of gratitude. She, the way I do stuff and the way that I interact and run my building is a big influence because of Diane. So thank you to that. I appreciate that. And the Strive program, I just want to say thank you to coming in and dedicating your time and having conversations with our students and just meeting them where they are and accepting them for who they are, and just over time giving them planting some small seeds and giving them an opportunity to maybe see a different path in life. Our students don't get those opportunities to have those conversations unless we are very intentional with it. So thank you for that. And thank you for considering joining the Strive program. It really, really does make a difference. And so I really appreciate it. One of the highlights in the spring, besides graduation,
is attending and hearing the difference from the Strive, from our students at the impact of those conversations in the program that has had over those few months. So again, thank you for that. Enough about me and enough about the program. A little bit about our school. I think this is cutting out. Is it okay? Okay. Does everybody know where the ALC is located? No. I know Ben does. Ben has been at our school talking to our kids and mentoring them and doing whatever he does. And so thank you for that, Ben. The ALC is located, you all know where Whistle Dickey's on the Lake is at? Yes, okay. So if you drive, you go down and then you take the exit off of 63 and then you come back on 40th and you're going past Thatcher Pool and Spa with the big duck. So our school is right next to it. You will see the logo right there. It's a big sign. It's across from the Pepsi Cola, you know, the old Mills Fleet Farm, before it moved further south, down by Target South. So that's our school. It's been remodeled. We've been there for 8 years, 9 years. Okay. It's a beautiful site. If you do go to Whistle Dickey's on the lake, you're going to see some garden plots. That's right there. It's kind of in an open space. Those are garden plots that are planted, planned, and harvested from our students. So we are constantly evolving and constantly trying to give our students experiences that they need, that they just haven't had in their many years of schooling and just being in Rochester. So, all right, you want to advance? So what is the ALC? So it's a high school. It's 9 through 12. We are part of the Rochester Public School System. I'm going to try to talk fast here to obviously give Sweta some time, and then we want to have an opportunity for some question and answer for you as well. So part of the Rochester Public School System, meaning our kids still have to get the 24 credits, math, science, so on and so forth. How our kids get those credits looks very differently. And we want to try to give them experiences. A lot of our students come to us having experienced a lot of barriers in school. And those barriers could be something in the family, could be mental health, could be chemical health, could be all, you know, I mean, you name it, our students have experienced it. And so our number one job is to figure out what those barriers were, to remove them, support the student, and then give them a very different experience at the school. So we have a lot, we're constantly meeting with our students and just saying, all right, this isn't working, what can we do different? And we want the students to be a part of that conversation and a part of that solution. So we're constantly creating new school plans if it's not working for them. And I'll talk a little bit about our programming in just a second here. A student gets to the ALC, you know, and we have this misnomer, and I'm glad Sweta titled it, Changing the Narrative of the ALC. We have this misperception in the community, and you all can help us with this, that this is where the bad kids go to school. And it couldn't be anything further from the truth. If you've been in our school and you've had conversations with our kids, they're kids that just have had crazy challenges in their very young lives, and they're trying, and they just need an opportunity. They need a second chance, and that's what we're hoping to give to them. So most of the times it works. Sometimes they need to go away, and then they'll always come back, and a lot of times they'll figure it out that way. But the students have to meet certain criteria, and this is by state statute. These are not Lindbergh's rules. They have to experience homelessness or chemical health, mental health, serious attendance issues, pregnant, parenting teens. We do have a licensed daycare on site where many of our, not many, we have probably 8 students that have young children that are in our daycare, that they check in their child to our daycare center, and then they go do school. So
Thank you, Amy, for advancing. I'm starting to, so these are some of the criteria, either behind in credits. So a lot of our students are from the Rochester area, but we do get students from the outlying areas. And believe it or not, we have a wait list. One of my challenges is to try to continue the really cool culture that we have at the school and the community feeling that we have at the school, and to continue to service the kids and to try to get as many students into our walls. But then there's that tipping point, like we bring in more kids, then is it going to create, bigger class sizes? Because one of the things that our students really appreciate is the small class sizes. We don't have any lockers, there's no bells. It's a very sense of calm in the building. And we have, I think if you want to go to the next slide. So this is our different programs. We have a day school that's going on right now. It's about 170 students. And then we have a night school program, and you're going to start to do a little bit of the math and say, wow, the school's open almost 10, 11, 12 hours a day. And that is true. We have staff and students that if it's not working to come at school at 9 o'clock, we'll say, why don't we try to have you come in at 11? And then you can stay till 5 or 6 o'clock. Again, we're just trying to come up with game plans and trying to come up with a school plan for a student that's going to meet the student's needs and the family needs. So we have night school. Many of those students have part-time jobs in our communities. And then they come and do school 4 nights a week until 7:15. And then we have a success lab. Those students are working on their classes remotely, and then they come into the building and check in with our staff. That works for some of our kids that have responsibilities at home or have to work full time and still want to continue to do their high school work. We really try to put our older students in the success lab because the students have to manage their own schedule. And that really takes a more mature type of a student and family, but it does work for a certain segment of our students. And then we have our Apex Recovery School. It's one of 6 in the state of Minnesota. These are students that are dedicated to being chemically free. Many of them have come out of a treatment center and are just trying to learn what it's like to be a teenager in this crazy world and how to stay chemically and sober. And so they get support from our 2 teachers, chemical health specialists. They go to AA meetings. That's a year-round school because those students need year-round support. So they are meeting throughout the summer in our building. And then we do have a middle school ALC that's currently housed at the Friedel building. So all told, those programs have about 400 students in them. At one time, we have about 170 students in the building. But the students and staff are always constantly coming and going. So if you want to advance it. So I think this is my last slide, then I'm going to hand it over to Sweta so we can talk about community schools. So our building goals for this year, we're tasked via the superintendent and the school board to come up with some goals that our staff and everybody can kind of work on. One of them is to try to increase the literacy of our students, reading. So we're having all of our teachers, we kind of tested our students where they're currently at with their reading levels. And then our teachers are using that to assign stuff and as students are working in their classrooms. And a lot of our students or a lot of our staff are using artificial intelligence to come up with assignments that will meet the students, the reading level, so that the student can actually experience some success, which is kind of phenomenal. So that's a real positive way for artificial intelligence to be used. And then one of our other goals, Amy is working on it, is to have every senior have a game plan of what they're going to do after high school. And it doesn't have to be a 4-year university. It doesn't have to be going on to RCTC, anything like that. Our students just don't have the opportunity to have an adult give them those experiences like a college visit Or, hey, let's just go down to Mayo Clinic and look at the phlebotomy program. And you could be doing this in a couple of months after you get this training and making some pretty good money. So Amy's been tasked and she's doing a phenomenal job of meeting with our seniors and coming up with a game plan. And I know Sweet is going to talk about it a little bit. And then we are screening our students. A lot of time at the school, we're reactionary with mental health issues, especially now as we get into winter months, November, December, January. So we're screening our students currently right now, especially our ninth graders, for mental health. And so we're going to try to then build in some supports for those students before they have actually a mental health crisis or a mental health breakdown. So those are our building goals that we're working on. There's a lot more to those that we could talk about, but on a hand, if you want to advance, I think it's Sweta. So Sweta will talk about community schools and kind of all of our partners that we have with the community, and then we'll have a chance for some question and answers. So, all right, Sweta, you want to come? Does anybody have any just general questions before we hand it over to Sweta, or do we, Susan, do we want to wait till the end? Wait, okay, all right.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tim. All right, so the ALC is considered a community school. There are 6 community schools in the district. So it's John Marshall, Mayo High School, the ALC, that's your high school population, and then Gage, Riverside, and Ben Franklin. So what is a community school? Basically, it's somebody who employs someone like me in this position, community school site coordinator. So I manage and try to sustain partnerships. Somebody mentioned schools are public goods. We're trying to break down the walls of our school and invite community organizations, businesses in to partner with us. So it feels like a community meeting student needs. And this is a picture that I always show to share what a community school is. Like for a kid to be successful in the classroom, it's not just what's happening in the classroom between teacher and student. It's, do they have glasses so they can see the board? Are they hungry? Because we all know it's hard to concentrate when we're hungry, which is why we all ate before you had to listen to us, right? Clean clothing. There's a picture of a tooth there. If you have some dental pain, it's again hard to concentrate. Supplies. We don't ask our students to bring any back to school supplies. We don't have lists that usually go out because we know that 75% of our families are free and reduced lunch qualified. And so we rely on United Way as a partner to help supply all of the classroom supplies. And so we know when basic needs are met, that students can be successful, but how do we meet those needs? Community partners. We can't do it alone. So some of our health and wellness partners, we have Mayo Clinic on site. And if you were to walk into our school-based clinic, it looks like any Mayo Clinic that you would walk into. Our students can be seen, their students can be seen. We have a mental health therapist right on site. So that's a partnership with Zembro Valley Mental Health. We bring free dental cleanings to our school twice a year. We partner with Winona State University nurses to bring vision and hearing screenings to our building. We also have a resource room and food pantry. Again, we have to meet basic needs before our students can function well and successfully in the classroom. So our students and families can freely go to our food pantry and our resource room for basic hygiene items, microwavable meals. So we're talking shampoo, conditioner, body wash, laundry detergent. And we started that when Mr. Lindbergh's predecessor, Mr. Zebart, he would talk to our students and ask them, why were you absent a string of days? And they would say something like, well, I didn't have any clean clothes. Well, we have an answer to that now. And that's an easily solvable thing in having this food pantry and resource room for our students and families to access. Next slide here. think you'll have to click out of the why it's not working. Okay, we partner with different organizations every single month. So just this morning, this is last year's photo, but this happened again this morning. Geotech out of Stewartville partnered with us. And all they have to do is put a box out for their employees, and then they can collect items for us that we need. And so I provide them a list. And again, it's those hygiene items, those microwavable meals, shelf-stable food items. And they collect it all month long, and then they do a drop-off at the end of the month and the middle of the month. So this morning, Geotech dropped it off, and our shelves were kind of getting empty, so I was really grateful. This month, our sponsor is Minnesota and Adult and Teen Challenge. We have Christ United Methodist, who's going to partner with us in November. And so it's a mix of like Mayo Clinic departments, private businesses, church groups. They help to keep our shelves full. I'm gonna try one more time. Now it stopped at me, sorry. You'll have to do the work for me there. Okay, so we know once basic needs are met, then students can focus more on learning. And even here, we recruit partners to come in, trying to break down the classroom walls. There's like knowledge beyond what our ALC teachers alone can offer. And forward. Okay, so this is one partnership. We have a daycare on site for our parenting students too. And so I'm happy to show you some photos, like the next bunch of slides are photos of our kids so you can kind of see them in action here. But we partner with Bright Futures and Head Start to educate our teen parents on parenting. We have a collaboration going with University of Minnesota, Rochester. College students come in every Wednesday to work with our art students. And so they get to interact with college students in the classroom. This is one of my offerings that I offer. So every week, I take a group of students out to Ben Franklin Elementary to mentor the younger students. And I think it's a win-win on both sides. They actually have a classroom that's sort of like their ALC at Ben Franklin. And watching these kids look up to our kids, and then our students having to be the role models, which I don't think many of them have ever been put in that leadership position. And it's amazing to see how present they are with these little ones and how seriously they take this role. So this is one that Amy Petersley, my colleague, took on, a partnership with Rideability. I would have to probably say none of our students have gone horseback riding before this experience. Am I right, Amy? A few, okay. But to have these offerings during the school day, I did a survey and about 90% of our students said that they don't do extracurricular activities. Now my kiddos is all I'm doing when I get home, you guys, taxi driving, dance class, soccer class, baseball, basketball, piano, art, you name it. And I know my kiddos are privileged to be able to have those experiences. So how do we give those kinds of experiences to our population? We have to do it during the school day. So once a week on Wednesdays, we kind of pause the academic week and all of our staff take on providing enrichment kind of activities and experiences to our students. And this is one of them. We partner with Workforce Development to offer a construction class called Youth Build. Again, all during the school day. One of our teachers partners with Roka. Again, like I would take my kiddos on the weekends to Roka, but many of our students don't have that same opportunity. So again, how do we provide these experiences during the school day? And this teacher happened to write a grant to be able to fund this. We partner with Ryan Stock Martial Arts Studio to provide some self-defense classes. And we partner with the USA licensed boxing coach, Corey Klein, who comes every week to do boxing classes for our students. So those were some of our enrichment partners. We also have college and career readiness partners. So we want to prepare our students to know what they're going to do when they leave our building. And we have a team, our transitions team. Amy is our transitions coordinator, so she tries to meet with every senior and kind of gauges, where are you in your thoughts about what you want to do? Do you want to do college? Do you want to do trade school? Do you want to go on to work, military? And how do we get there? If our students are going to college, it's likely that they're first generation students. So it's going to require a lot of hand-holding through the process of FAFSA, financial aid, applications, scholarships. It's overwhelming. And so we're trying to provide a team to help them navigate that process. And so we also have an RCTC college advisor on site. We're soon going to have a workforce development career planner on site. So you can see we're trying to hit the kids who want to go to college, the kids who want to work. And then one of our partners for you guys with Strive. I have a few pictures to share of last year's program. So I've been honored to lead Strive at the ALC under Diane for many years, and then with Mike for a couple of years too. And I love it. Every time I look around the room, I could just cry, you guys. Like watching our students engage with all of you in conversation and laughter and having a snack while they're doing that, just talking about their futures. Like we all know how much it matters to have a caring adult in a teen's life. I mean, we all can only do so much. And so to have like you guys volunteer your time and be that person for them a couple of times a month means a lot. I think I have one more photo. So down below, we did a Strive off-site experience at Velocity. Many of our students had bowled for the first time till that day. That shocked me. So it just speaks to like how important some of these experiences are, and they had a great time with their mentors. I think Suzanne mentioned that there are some sheets on your table that if you would consider being a mentor, I think there are like 5 or 6 dates that you would have to commit to for a monthly meeting in person and a second virtual meeting with your student. So if you're interested, you could snap a picture of that and consider it and get back to Suzanne. I generally don't like to talk about my book at these meetings, but Suzanne asked me multiple times, so I will. I wrote a book, you guys. I'm very proud of it. It's called Should Have Been Dead, Lessons from a Crack Addict Who Broke Free. And this is Rory Launder's life story. So Rory was homeless, addicted to crack cocaine for decades in Minneapolis, in Rochester. There used to be a laundromat off of 12th Street near where KFC is now. He used to sleep inside that laundromat, and he would kind of scoot up against the dryers to stay warm. And then he ended up purchasing that laundromat and turning it into $1 million home improvement business called Rory's Home Improvement. Maybe you've seen his signs, his trucks around town. He's since sold it, but his name is still there. And I met him as a motivational speaker for my students. Like my students would listen to Rory's story and they would walk away thinking, man, if he changed his life, or if he wasn't happy with where he was and he turned things around, maybe I can too. And so I kept inviting him back because my students related to him so well. And then 2020 hit. It was the pandemic. I was teaching from home, and I invited Rory to come and speak to my class virtually. And then I found out that he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Exactly, that was my reaction. After everything he'd been through, he turned his life around, doing really well in this. For about, I don't know, I want to say for about 8 months, I kept sitting with this feeling that I was supposed to write this person's story, even though I'd never written anything. I got the courage to ask him, and he was ready. And I think he was at a point in his life where he didn't know how long he had to live. He's doing well. All of his scans are clear right now. But when we met, he didn't know how long he had. And so it was a 2.5-year journey to get to this point. But I interviewed him every week. I was granted a sabbatical leave. The superintendent believed in this project too. And it's his life story, but it's organized by the lessons that I personally took away. And that's how I kind of titled some of the chapters. And I just want to read you a couple of chapter titles. The person who needs it most, we have to love the hardest. Another one is, if you weren't thinking about yourself so much, maybe things wouldn't be so bad. One more, you popping your head up and down again? Why don't you look at people? I learned so much from somebody who was addicted so heavily and was involved with that population for so long. I mean, he sponsored hundreds of people in Rochester and lifted them up. And I was able to take some of the lessons about compassion, about how to look at people and not just judge, how to listen and try to understand before just assuming, and apply all those lessons to the ALC and my students. I mean, I've been an ALC teacher since 2009. I mean, I have like a boatload of empathy and sympathy, but working with Rory and kind of internalizing what it actually means to relate to people and meet them where they are, I had the best relationships I've ever had with my students in those years working on this book and since then. So really at its heart, it's like a book about human compassion, and it's done far more than Rory and I ever thought. We didn't even know that we'd get to this point. I honestly thought, okay, Rory, if we get 100 readers, it's because I have a large Indian family. That's who's gonna read it. But we've sold about 5,000 copies. And it's at like a low price point because we want people to access it. And every day I get messages from people who have read it, you know, family members who've been addicted. It's helped them to understand the nature of addiction. I think all of us in this room probably know someone who's addicted to something. And it's like, it's a very relatable topic, but it ends up leaving the reader more hopeful and inspired. And I've left about 5 minutes for questions. And then Tim, you can come up here too if I have questions for you.
I have a date with the vote in 45 minutes, so I'm gonna ask this question, and I have to go. I recently read in the Post-Ball, 350, 370 kids, are homeless. Well, not homeless, but they don't have a permanent place to sleep, so they may not be under a culvert, but 370 kids, something like that, didn't have a residence. What do you do when you find out that one of your kids is not sleeping at home or doesn't have a home or?
Yeah, good question. We do have, that is a portion of our population. We have a couple of social workers in town, or in our school in town, and we have a couple of counselors. And what we do is within the school district, we have a couple people, 3 people that are dedicated to helping with the homelessness. And then they have connections to county agencies and things like this. So we get them connected with those housing specialists. And it can go anywhere from giving them gas card vouchers to help, to giving them rides in our vans, which we do oftentimes do, to picking them up or taking them to and from school. And we have many families that are living in hotels and stuff like that. And as Sweta has, said so eloquently, that's where the resource room and the food pantry and all of those, having the clinic on site and the mental health stuff, that's where we can just get the kid to school and we'll take care of those other essential needs. As well as trying to search for that long-term housing. So, good question.
I'm just curious, how many, I've done some volunteer with you guys over the years. After these kids graduate, go through your program, how much success, do you guys track these kids? Do you follow up with them? How does that work once they get through the ALC after all these resources you guys provide? Are you guys hearing success stories and hearing, the benefits of what you guys are providing? Because obviously you guys do a ton in the community.
That's a great question. I've always wanted to be able to track. I don't have the method or means to be able to do that tracking. That's a great question. And the most that we can really do is like run into kids out in the community and ask them, so what are you doing now? And a lot of them are working the job that they had in high school, or they work for a while and then they realize what they want to do and they might go to college, you know, down the line. Like life's not linear, as we all know, you know, looks kind of like this. And so it's hard to know where they eventually end up, but yes, it would be great to track. We can track their RCTC and what, you know, how long that they stayed there, but not in life.
I'll add a little bit to it as well. We do have an RALC alumni Facebook that we kind of keep up to date with some of the students. We try to have a reunion every so often to connect with them. And we do have a good handful of students that will come back and do like speeches and presentations of career experiences that they're doing as well to kind of see where their trajectory is going.
Great question.
So we had a fantastic presentation with, you know, the resource that you folks bring to the community is phenomenal. I have a question regarding your interaction perhaps with the parents and the adults that are in these students' lives. How does that work, and how do you monitor that and regulate that and make it work with your program?
Yeah, that's a really solid question. I personally meet with every student and a parent before they become an ALC student. We call it an intake. And we just kind of explain, we get to know them, they get to know us. We have a little contract that we go over and just review with that. But that partnership starts right there. And we make it very clear that in order for this to work, we all got to work together. We do a lot of meetings. When things are kind of going sideways at school, rather than suspend the kid, we'll just say, let's just take a break and let's meet with parents and just explain, you know, what's going on. And I think the parents appreciate the fact that we're coming at it alternatively, and we're coming at it with support and, as Sweta said, compassion and empathy, and we're trying to help them. And we're always asking and trying to get to the why of why are you acting that way? Is it you are, you know, addicted to chemicals, or is there something else? And then let's use you some supports there. And not always, but most of the time, the parents are supportive of that, because a lot of times they're also at their wits' end with the student at home. So hopefully that answers your question.
So excellent program. Let's give Tim and Sweta a big hand. To close the meeting, I've got a couple of things that I want to mention. First, there's food here. If you're interested in bringing some home, it's available to you. Second, on your table, and this is the favor I'm asking, you'll see that there are two things. One is Community Impact Days. That's a poster. And you'll notice on the bottom, the Rotary Club is highlighted. Many of you have businesses that you're going home to after the meeting. I would ask that at least one person on every table pick up this poster, and I'll bring this one up to the front table as we finish, because I stole it from that table. But please take one of those with you and put it up. Community Impact Days has a big impact on our Rochester residents who need it. The second one I want you to take, and there's quite a few, so I would ask everybody to, I don't want to see one of these on the table. When the meeting finishes, you'll notice that the bell ringing has started. And I'm standing back here with Mark because he's going to help me with this, but I want everybody to grab one of those and bring it with you. But Mark, do you want to tell them about, it looks like you've got even more, so there's one for everybody.
I do have more. There's a short notice here for Dave when you get up there in front, which is not a problem, so it's even better. We are starting November 16th. The season has started. Last year was a fantastic year. We had about $203 per hour, and that helped with a couple of the matching grants that we had. But for people standing at those pedals for 2-hour shifts, you really bring in the money. And that's what we need to do for the Salvation Army. And they're going to need the help this year just as much as they have in the past, maybe even more so. So 6 dates. It's live on the web now. You can go up and sign up. There's one spot taken so far. I need somebody to help me. It's probably gonna be John when we start this thing out on the 16th. But take a flyer, take a picture of it, but I do have extra flyers here. Please sign up early. We'll have a great season. Thank you very much.
Okay, one more on October 12th, the risers are having our tree planting. I'm assuming this is it. I don't know. Okay, so more to come, but plan on your calendars for October. That's this Saturday. Well, it's tree planting with our neighbors, so maybe go out on the Risers website and we'll find more information about that real quickly.
So on the tables are the flyers for Strive Mentors. And it will be one meeting a month starting in December, and then you'll have a virtual second meeting. So, and we support one another. For some reason, you can't be there. There's other Rotarians or other mentors that will fill in. So we're flexible, and we need 10 mentors at ALC. So please take one of these and consider being a member for that wonderful program. And come on in the building. It's a very exciting place. Thank you.
All right. And with that, anything else from anybody before we close? All right, remember, I don't want to see any of those on the table. So even if you take 2 and give it to somebody else, make sure the tables are clear. Have a good day, everyone.